So what's up guys, I'm Dmitry with HardwareCanucks, and the Logitech G Pro mouse has been my daily driver for anything gaming and anything on the desktop. Just a fantastic experience all around. But then Steelseries came out and said, hey, you're gonna want to use this as your daily driver, we promise it, with the Rival 310 and the Sensei 310, the two new mice they're announcing today. And I was skeptical because everybody says that, quite frankly, so let's see if this new kid on the block is actually any good. And Steelseries is approaching this a very good price point at $59 for either the Rival 310 or the Sensei 310. It's a nice budget territory without any bells and whistles. It's just like a pure performance mouse, which I think is the needed projection for many gaming companies to take. I'm happy that Logitech has done so with their G Pro lineup, and I'm happy to see Steelseries following suit.
Choose Be Quiet to join the silent revolution. Designed and tested in Germany, their meticulous passion for quiet PC components ranges from premium power supplies, CPU coolers and fans, and innovative PC cases, all of which aim to achieve one thing.
Is this thing even on?
That's right, totally quiet power supplies, even under load. Silent Wings fans deliver awesome airflow with noise that doesn't reach your ears, all enclosed in a package designed to be quiet.
Alright, so let's first start with the main thing, the new sensor, the TrueMove 3, which has been specifically designed by PixArt exclusively for Steelseries. So the mice really kind of target that esports arena. The TrueMove 3 sensor surprisingly is Steelseries' top-of-the-line sensor, which offers true one-to-one tracking with raw performance, and Steelseries doesn't really want to partake in those crazy DPI marketing warfare that's going on, so they outline exactly how the sensor works, and that's appreciated. So the sensor goes up to 12,000 CPI, which is crazy, but what they advertise is a true one-to-one tracking up to 3,500 CPI, which if you play below that, you're golden, which means it's absolutely raw performance, one-to-one tracking, and that's an advantage because other competing 3360 mice that use the 3360 sensor only can achieve that raw one-to-one tracking up to 2,100 CPI, after which there is introduced delay and latency and all jitter reduction for the calculation of the sensor to work properly, whereas with these new TrueMove 3 sensors, that jitter reduction doesn't kick in until 3,500 CPI. There's some differences between the two, so the Sensei being slightly heavier and ambidextrous, of course, with an 8-button layout, whereas the Rival is right hand only and a 6-button layout. The Rival 310 also weighs less versus the original at 88 grams versus 104 grams without the cable, and it is slightly heavier than my G Pro, which weighs 83 grams without the cable, so I prefer the G Pro still for CSGO scene, but the adjustment period for the weight, for that little additional weight, is not an issue. So the main differences between the original, aside from the weight, is the size. The form is now slightly smaller, it's not as long, but still featuring all the similar curves, very comfortable to hold, great support for ring and pinky fingers on that right side. They have removed the custom rubber plate that you could install on the Rival 300, which I think is a good direction. The side texture grips feel excellent, which are now made of silicone, so you can lock in your hand in place and lift the mouse no problem. And the plastic texture is matte and does not feel cheap. That can happen with a really light mouse, so the Rival 310 build-wise overall is excellent. The ambidextrous design is also awesome. The side buttons on the opposite side of your thumb are out of place and don't activate with your grip, but of course they can be disabled if they bother you. And both come equipped with a split trigger design that use Omron switches with 50 million keystrokes for the lifespan. So anywhere you press, the switches activate, and the physical separation from the rest of the body is much improved versus the original that had that one single piece of molded plastic. The scroll wheel is precise without skipping steps, very easy to control. The middle click is fantastic, light but without the scroll step activation, and the 2-step CPI button behind is aligned well to avoid accidental presses, and the browser buttons are large enough but low profile to only be useful when needed. The cable is non-braided, it's very light though, at 2 meters, fits into my bungee just fine, and there is a logo at the tip for easier distinction if you need to find what to unplug. RGB, of course, is present with a back logo and the scroll wheel, nice and uniform, and of course customizable. And we all appreciate Easter eggs, especially when it comes to gaming peripherals, so SteelSeries planted a little slogan on the PCB of the Sensei 310 that says "Bow to the Master." It's very fitting for the name. Hi Sensei. Alright, so now let's talk about the sensor. The TrueMove 3 is fantastic. True one-to-one tracking performance, absolutely raw tracking. So what you do on the mouse mat is exactly what is displayed on the screen. And it's especially evident with high refresh rate monitors. There's absolutely no delay, no latency, up to 3500 CPI. So what happens if you use a mouse over 3500 CPI? SteelSeries tells us because of high sensitivity, they have to introduce jitter reduction. So the sensor is can be fully controlled, but because of that there is introduced delay, a latency to the sensor, so it's not as accurate, but still in my experience using like 4000 DPI trying to move a 4K desktop, it was still fine. I don't play at such high DPI levels, so I can't really comment on that because I usually play around 400 to 800 CPI for competitive games. So when I asked SteelSeries on why this matters, they told me that other competing mice that advertise true one-to-one tracking with a 3360 variant of the PixArt sensor can only achieve that raw performance up to 2100 CPI, versus the new TrueMove 3 can go up to 3500 CPI with that raw performance without introducing jitter delays and jitter reduction stuff. So you have a wider range of CPIs, so if you do play at the highest sensitivity, you have just a better option with this mouse. And so from a gaming perspective, the tracking is fantastic. It's excellent if you're training for competitive scenes, and absolutely no complaints about the performance, aside from not having the option to change your CPI levels in smaller increments. You can only adjust them in 100s. We also have onboard memory of the mouse, so if you need to remember your dual CPI levels, you don't need the software to remember your profiles. And seriously, the Rival 310 and the Sensei 310 are the best mice you can buy right now at this price point. I love the sensor, I love the shape, especially because we have ambidextrous and right hand only designs trying to cover a larger market segment. And I love the new silicone texture grip, so if you're doing any flicks or lifting the mouse a lot, it will not go anywhere. Really nice and locked in your hand. I still prefer my Logitech G Pro because of a lighter and a slightly slimmer base for doing flicks and stuff, but the Rival 310 is definitely going to be staying on my desk for more. SteelSeries have done a fantastic job with these mice, and we're giving them the HardwareCanucks damn good and damn good value awards. So yeah, that's it. Let me know which CPI or DPI levels you game at. I'm curious to see if we have any higher sensitivity gamers in the audience. Make sure to check out all these other relevant videos and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.